Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of This Week in Real Estate. I'm Ray, I'm your host, and this is This Week in Real Estate, the T-Wire podcast broadcast live Wednesday. Oh wait, I'm getting feedback and I have no idea where it is. Oh, it's on my Instagram. Oh, okay, I fixed it. This is episode 280. That's why I'm such a professional at doing this. I know exactly what buttons to hit when. And today we have a lot to talk about. The show title is Home Prices Slashed. Is now the time for the crash? So we're going to talk about it. Some weird stuff is going on in the real estate industry. And there's a lot of pundits now talking about all the crashes and stuff that are going to happen. If you're joining us live, you could comment and I could display your comment if you're on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. We're back on LinkedIn this week. So thanks for the LinkedIn viewer that joined us last week. Christina M. Smallhorn, just like that, comments on YouTube, says happy 4th of July, Ray. Happy 4th, Christina. Thanks for joining the show. And we're also broadcasting on Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, I can't display your comment, but just like Christine Halverson said hi, I can say Christine Halverson says hi. Christina says, oh no, are you a cash bro now, Ray? Crash bro? Crash bro. I'm not. Well, wait and see. I do think this is a really interesting time to get some good deals, but we'll talk about if it's a crash or not. So we're going to be talking about that today. We're also going to be talking about what's happened, what's the latest in the settlement. We've got REColorado. Oh, if you know anyone in Colorado, please send this to them now. I would love for them to join the show and clue us in on what's happening with REColorado stuff. The DOJ, talking about workarounds of the commission lawsuit, and then we're going to talk about the economy. What's up with home buyers? What's up with home prices? We're seeing huge slashes in the market, and this could be the end of real estate as we know it, of course. Christina said I would be the coolest crash bro. Thank you. I just don't want Logan Matashami coming after me. You know, that's the standard. You're not a real crash bro until Logan Matashami mentions your name in a takedown article. Christine says, except for A-frames. What's up, Christine? You're on YouTube, or she's on Facebook and Instagram watching at the same time. So I appreciate the double view counts. We always love that. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into this first article here. Sellers appeal the Keller Williams Anywhere and RE/MAX settlements. So part of the process in going through the lawsuit and all that kind of stuff is that there's a time where people can appeal the decision. And if they appeal the decision, it pauses the settlement. So basically it pauses the money. They're still, of course, allowed to change business practices and put some things in place. But as far as the money goes, money can't be paid out until these appeals are settled. So calls are piling up to overturn the district court's final approval of nationwide settlements to resolve the antitrust claim against the major real estate franchisors Anywhere, Keller Williams, and RE/MAX. On July 1st, law firm Knie and Shealy, Shealy, Shelley, which represents South Carolina home sellers in a commission suit filed a notice of appeal in the U.S. District Court of Western District of Missouri. Jill, that's up where you are. Jill's on Clubhouse, by the way. The notice informed the court that the firm's clients, home sellers, and it names all the clients, would look to the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals to reverse the decision from Judge Stephen Arborough granting the approvals on May 9th. The home sellers' legal filings regarding the appeal so far do not contain any arguments, but earlier legal filings offer hints. On April 12th, the home sellers objected to the final approval of the franchisor's settlement on the grounds that the settlements far exceed the scope of the original suits that led to the deals. That's interesting. Home sellers objected to the final approval of the franchisor's settlements on the grounds that the settlements far exceed the scope of the original suits. Oh, okay. It's not talking about the money. When it says far exceed the scope, it means that it's settling too far out of those that were impacted. This settlement intends to expand the class certification for more than 600 MLSs around the country. This, despite the fact that real estate is, at its base, local. Many of those 600 MLSs operate to enforce the rules differently from other MLSs within the same state, let alone across the country. That's interesting. That seems to be, this seems to be a little bit in opposition of the argument that everyone was colluding around the country. You're like, yeah, but all real estate's local and everyone enforces these rules differently. You're kind of disproving the case, which led to the class action. It's also easy to conflate the illegal activity the MLSs engaged in with the means at which it accomplished. These MLSs may have used many of the same rules, but often enforced them in various ways. The participants in the MLSs took part at fixing prices for commissions, the actual illegal activity, using rules adopted for a particular MLS, though they may have used similar instrumentalities to do it. So it's basically saying they may have all done the same thing, but the way in which they did those things was different. Therefore, we should be able to sue differently. We'll see. So far, Ketchmark, who's the attorney for the settlement, said the plaintiffs, I guess, said that they have anticipated all of these appeals. There have been no surprises in them, and that they will just kind of work through them. So more information on this, of course, is at Inman. If you want to know all the nitty gritty details, it also does. It also goes back through the original settlement and talks a little bit about that as well. So take a look at that if you're interested. But we'll see. Once we get through all the appeals, then everything will kind of be official. What's up, Hillary? Joining over on the pod. So I have an Instagram for the pod too that I also go live on, and there's always a couple of people on there, but most of the people are on my main Instagram, which is Ray Zorback, RAYZORBACK. All right, so let's look at the REColorado owners oust board amid plans to sell MLS. So this article broke last week. I believe we covered that the REColorado was being bought. I believe we covered some of the outrage of the REColorado board. And then since then, I think on Thursday, they ousted the board. So the owners of one of the largest multiple listing services in the country on Friday announced that they had removed the organization's board of directors, saying members broke confidentiality agreements as a controversial sale to a just revealed buyer draws nearer. The sale in question involves REColorado, which is owned by the Denver Metro Association of Realtors, DMAR, and the South Metro Denver Realtor Association, SMDRA. News of the sale broke earlier this week, which was last week, confirmed to Inman on Tuesday by REColorado's board vice chair, Shelley Vinson. So apparently they were under a confidentiality agreement not to talk about the sale, and of course they talked about the sale. On Friday, the leadership signed a resolution removing all REColorado board members from their position and duties effective immediately, according to both the statement provided to Inman and the fact sheet circulating online. The statement further notes that REColorado's board members were being removed for breaking confidentiality agreements. Nevertheless, it's interesting to see this kind of all play out. I mean, if you have a bunch of people that break confidentiality agreements, I mean, of course you have grounds to remove them. But a lot of times in these cases, we don't really see those folks removed. We just see the person dealing with it. Like there's a lot of companies that have somebody come out and make a statement that breaks a confidentiality agreement, and that person doesn't normally get removed. So interesting to see REColorado act fairly swiftly removing them, but that probably makes the sale easier. The statement also reveals that the would-be buyer of the MLS is an entity called MAZL LLC. The statement describes MAZL as a private company and was created specifically to purchase REColorado, noting that it's led by Jay Burks, a leader in the real estate industry for more than 40 years. So, and that was some speculation that we had last week, talking about the private equity company that was created in order to buy REColorado, and we were wondering, who is this, and is it somehow tied with someone like, CoStar or some other big company that could benefit hugely from having an MLS with them? Jay Burks is quoted in his statement saying, "Our commitment is to providing broker-centric platform remains steadfast. Our commitment to providing a broker-centric platform remains steadfast. We assure the subscribers that REColorado will continue to operate as a multiple listing service, maintaining its core mission of delivering exceptional data, tools, and resources to realtors and licensees. We are dedicated to ensuring that the MLS remains trusted, broker-focused, and a true partner that subscribers can rely on. So interesting. They're still buying, as far as I know. I think the leak didn't impact that, but it is interesting that the board of directors was removed, and I'm anxious to see where they go from here. Any Coloradans in the chat? What's up, Mike? How are you, man? Oh, and I forgot to mention this week that if you guys are listening on Clubhouse, we have a Clubhouse room that meets there every week on the real estate networking club. It's actually the largest real estate networking group in the entire world on Clubhouse. But if you're listening there, you can raise your hand. If you have a filled out bio and you're a real human, you can comment on any of these articles. We can bring you up and you can comment on them. So feel free to raise your hand and come on up if you want to say something. So let's talk about the DOJ. There's a lot of speculation around the country with the settlement that's in place for NAR and the changes that are going to take place. I believe it's August 17th in most places. And there have been a lot of MLSs that have announced the disappearance of the buyer agent compensation blank and the appearance of a seller concessions blank. Now, it was made pretty clear in the in the settlement that any changes, well, I guess in the rules that NAR proposed about the MLSs and adding a seller concessions blank that could not be used in any way for buyer agent compensation, that it could simply be an offer of concessions on behalf of the seller, but it can't be applied towards the buyer agent fee. But there are a lot of agents right now that are saying, well, I'll just use the new blank to put in the buyer agent compensation. And if you do that, you will get in trouble. There can also be no other thing created that has all of the broker's commissions in one place. For instance, a lot of agents are saying, well, we'll just put it all in showing time. And that may go against the rules that has been laid out in the settlement. So the thing that the settlement does allow agents is to add the buyer agent compensation on the brokerage website. So on your website, you can put the offer of buyer agent compensation. So I think, a group like Lofty or a group like, Curator or who else is that? I don't think Follow Up Boss has a website component. But anyone that has an IDX component out there should have some kind of way where a real estate agent can edit their listings, or a brokerage could edit their listings and automatically display the buyer agent compensation, so that when I get a request from an agent to show a property, I can just send them a link to my website and it has the buyer agent compensation that the seller's willing to offer, if any, and they could see exactly what that is. I think that would probably be the easiest. Right now, we're taking the tactic. We've already changed, because I know some of the national companies in the area have started to change how they're operating, and they may or may not be putting a buyer agent compensation in the blank. So one of the things that we have started to do is when agents request showing instructions, we send back to them the showing instructions plus the buyer agent compensation, if there is any. So that, I think there's going to be ways that agents have to communicate it, because you can't say, here's a fee that the buyer has to pay. The seller is willing to pay a portion of it, but no one's going to talk about it. That's not practical. And some MLSs have downright rejected the DOJ's position on this, and we'll see where it goes. And they said they will continue to put the buyer agent compensation in the MLS. So we'll see what happens with that one. But the DOJ has a close eye on settlement workarounds, NAR President says. So the U.S. Department of Justice focused on closing loopholes around the National Association of Realtors' proposed commission settlement ahead of an expected court ruling later this year. The trade organization's president told members following a closed-door meeting with federal regulators last week. In a meeting led by Assistant Attorney General Jonathan Cantor, DOJ regulators informed NAR executives, including President Kevin Sears, that the agency was keeping an eye on forms as they update and comply with terms of the settlement agreements. NAR and dozens of brokerages and MLSs struck earlier this year. Let's see. The DOJ has long indicated it doesn't want to see offers of compensation from a listing broker made to a buyer broker anywhere. Those offers will be removed from multiple listing services as part of the NAR settlement agreement, but some in the industry are still at odds with whether they can advertise offers of compensation. As a result, a wave of new companies has sprung up to offer agents and consumers options on advertising offers of commission. The DOJ has yet to weigh in on those new companies. NAR didn't immediately respond to the list of questions, what else was discussed in the meeting, etc. Let's see. To be clear, NAR and I personally oppose any attempts to circumvent the settlement, Sears wrote. The practice changes should be implemented fully in good faith in the service of promoting consumer empowerment, consumer choice, and healthy competition. Yeah, I have seen some of those companies pop up that are saying, hey, you can list your agent compensation here because we're not the MLS. But that's expressly permitted in the settlement. So if you're tempted to go that route, I wouldn't. I don't think that's the solution. It's probably very temporary until they get shut down. And then who knows if they're going to be sued. So be careful. All right. That's all I've got on the industry tea this week. I need like a sounder, like an industry tea sounder. I don't have an industry tea sounder, but that would be good to have one at this moment. So imagine, if you will, an industry tea sounder. All right, so let's talk about what's going on in the economy. We have, and this is something I've been talking with my team about too. Home prices begin to cool as active listings jump 35%. So what's happening in your market? Drop in the comments, put it on Instagram. What's going on in your market? Are you seeing this thing for you too? But some of the heat is coming off of the home prices, even though they're still higher than they were a year ago. Several new reports show price gains are shrinking and home sellers are starting to give in after a stagnant spring market. For the first time since the start of COVID-19 pandy, when home sales ground to a halt, that was in March of 2020, the typical house sold for slightly less than asking price, 0.3% lower, during the 4 weeks ending June of 2023. According to the real estate brokerage Redfin, a year ago that time, the typical home was selling at list price. 2 years ago, it was selling about 2% above list price. It felt a lot different than that 2% above list price. But again, this is averages, right? It felt like way up there. That's not to say that the housing market is crashing. Christina. A little less than 2/3 of the homes sold over asking price in the last month. That is, however, the lowest share since June of 2020. While most sellers are still listing their homes at higher prices than comparable homes sold for a year ago, some are conceding that they simply can't command those prices. Mortgage rates remain stubbornly high, with an average rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage stuck above 7% for the third straight month. CNBC got an exclusive early look at home price data coming out next week by ICE Mortgage Technology. It shows home price growth slipped to 4.6% in May from 5.3% in April. That's the slowest growth rate in 7 months. So is stuff grinding to a halt in your market? What's going on? Is it, here we've had a definite increase in supply, which I'm just going to go to the next article because that brings us right to this next read from the National Association of Home Builders. High new home sales inventory, what it means for home building. So housing economists typically advise that a balanced market inventory is 5 to 6 months of supply, meaning that's the measure of how many months it would take to count the current homes to be sold before anything else comes on the market. So inventory longer than 5 to 6 months supply would suggest a weaker declining growth, and less than would lead to price growth and gains for home buying activity. In the census of May 2024 newly built home sales data, the current months of supply is 9.3. Some analysts have noted that given the 5 to 6 month benchmark, this means that building market for a single family home is possibly oversupplied, implying declines for construction and prices lie ahead. However, this narrow reading of the industry misses the mark. First, it's worth noting that new home inventory comprises of homes completed and are ready to occupy, homes currently under construction, and homes that have not begun construction. That is, new home inventory is a measure of homes available for sale rather than homes ready to occupy. In fact, about 21% of new home inventory may be comprised of standing inventory or homes that have been completed. More fundamentally than otherwise, elevated level of months of supply is justified in the current conditions because inventory of resale homes continues to be low. So this is what they're saying. This is the paraphrase version of the NAH Builders Report. Yes, new home sales inventory is high. However, 21% of the inventory in that list is actually available to occupy. So while the number looks high, the actual homes available is quite low. So if the number, I guess it's 21%. So the other thing they're saying is because existing home sales is so low, then it's okay for new home sales to have such high inventory. Well, maybe. New home sales are low because there are fewer buyers in the marketplace. And if there are fewer buyers in the marketplace, then those buyers are going to be less likely to buy, period, any homes because of rates, because of everything that's affecting buyers. So anyone that was thinking about buying this year, if they could get a good rate, they're out. The inventory is high, but it's still not high enough if rates were to drop. That's the weird part about where we are right now. The inventory is high for the current rates. It's high for the current numbers that we're currently looking at. But if rates go down, then home prices are going to shoot up because there's not enough available inventory to satisfy the demand. That's the weird part about where we are. If rates don't go down, then we're going to be in a state of, perpetual high inventory for a long time, which I feel like that's what it was like in 2017, 2018, 2019. So it almost feels more like a normal market. It just is very tied to interest rates in a way that it wasn't back then. Because we were spoiled. We had 10 years of super low rates. Jennifer Goodman in Austin, she says, Austin, price it at market or just below or sit. Supply is weighed up for the resale market. New construction is buying buyers with concessions, cash and options and design center, which is great for buyers. Yeah, the concessions that builders can make, they have the appliances, right? And appliance upgrades. They have the fence. Though a lot of people, are y'all still getting builders saying like, we don't want to do the fence because the wood prices are so high? We're still hearing that some, but for a long time, you were able to go buy a new construction home and they're not going to come off the price, but they would pay some closing costs. They would, stick a fridge in there for you. They would put on the fence, and that's kind of what you could get. And other people that didn't know that would go and buy the house because they would see the average price per foot in the neighborhood remaining stable and going up. But the builders were giving concessions to those that knew. All right, so what's going on in your market? Feel free to drop it in the comments. I'll display it if you could drop it during the show. But it's a weird, we're kind of in a weird market. It looks like it's becoming more of a buyer's market. It's balanced in many areas around the country, though I just sold a home in 2 days. And that wasn't happening in 2017, 2018, 20. I mean, that was rare, a multiple offer situation in 2 days. But, here's our experience. We could have listed the house here based on the comps. And we told our clients, you could list here, But, and my client said, what would you do if you were in my shoes? I said, I would list here. I would go down. And so we listed it about 5% below what it could go for on the market. And, you know, I wasn't expecting 20 or 30 showings like we were getting a couple of years ago. I wasn't expecting, 10, 15 offers. What I was expecting is that we would get some activity, and that activity would be serious. So that's the fun part about the buyers who are in the marketplace right now, is they're generally fairly serious. So we got 2 showings on the property. We got 2 offers. So I think we nailed the price point. Of course, it is under contract now above what it would have been, but because the offers, kind of bid themselves up. But that's great. That's exactly what our client wanted, and I think we're at a good value that can be appraised. But it's a cute house. The sellers went above and beyond getting the home ready. It's in a popular price point. It's in a good area, and we priced it below market, and the house sold. If we would have priced it at market, I think the home would still be sitting there. I don't think it would have sold. So I think that's the mode that we're in our market. Now, your market could be totally different. Stuff could be flying off the shelves still. I hear some in California saying it's still crazy in California right now, multiple offer situations way above ask. And that's interesting because y'all did go through a dip. You went through a dip about 6 months ago. So it's interesting that seems to have recovered and where it's at now compared to other parts around the country. Christina Smallhorn says, my realtor friends in the Northeast still have multiple offers. I was just there last week. Yeah. So maybe it's the middle. Maybe all of us in the middle, and the East Coast, West Coast are still pretty hot there. I wonder how much of it is people re-migrating to those areas. During the pandy, they migrated to areas like where I am. But we have seen more people selling because where they work has said you have to come back, and that place is in LA, or that place is somewhere in California or somewhere on the East Coast. So we have seen that. I wonder what percentage of people are moving because they've been asked to, and what percentage of people are moving like that because they want to go back to those cities. So my little wire is a little loose. Okay. All right. So let's jump into the next article. This is a home price article on Redfin. Uh-oh. I am frozen on the YouTubes. I don't know why. I do know why. It's StreamYard. They've been messing up lately. Okay, U.S. home prices hit an all-time high, pushing pending sales down 5%. So home prices went right back up. Pending home sales go down. This article came out July 3rd. Let's see. I'm trying to get to the analysis here. Well, here's the nice chart. So the median sell price is up 4.9% year over year. It's at $397,945, and you can see the previous years. So we have this dark blue line that has stayed above. That's our 2024 line. It has stayed steadily above the 2023 line that had a slight dip at the beginning of the year and then began to go up and then down towards the end of the year. We are above that consistently for the entire year. So we haven't at any point dipped below on the median sales price. We are still, what is this number? It was about 330. Yeah, maybe 330 in 2021. And now it's at 397. So almost $70,000 difference in 4 years, which is pretty wild. Median asking price is up 6.1% year over year. So median asking price still up. It is kind of starting to trail downward a little bit. We'll see if that continues. And then the home buyer payments is up 6.5%, which we've been going over the home buyer payments. I mean, it's so closely tied to rate. That's what we're looking at. Pending sales down 5% year over year. So the pending sales are down. If you're a video viewer, the chart is now inverted. So 2021 is now the top line, though it was kind of the same color as 2024. So 2021 is the top line. It makes like if you were to take an N and stretch it out. That's kind of what it looks like a lowercase n. It's just kind of a hump that's stretched out over time, over the year. The 2022 line is next. 2023 line is after that. And then the 2024 line is just under the 2023 line. So pending home sales have started to decline since 2021 and continues to go down, which that's really interesting and exactly correlated to home prices and rates. So as home prices went up, those sales slowed. As rates started to go up, they slowed way down. I wonder what October of 2023. Yeah. October of 2023 was the first time we hit 7 or 8% rates. And I believe it was 2023. And you can see that was a low. So we'll see where we go from now on. But new listings of homes is up 10% year over year. So on this chart, we had 2021 and 2022 are fairly close as far as the new listings of homes. And they were the two highest. So again, it's like a hill, basically, is the shape. In 2023, it was far lower. There were a lot less new listings. Well, right now, we are still closer to the 2023 number than we are 2022 or 2021. So the inventory is still not that high, though it is 10% above where it was last year. I hope that makes sense for the audio listeners. It's tough to describe some of these. Hillary Kerchief says Nashville, they're still getting multiple offers for cupcake houses. Homes needing cosmetic updates are going the first week if priced correctly. But outside of the city, things are just sitting. That's very interesting. Let's go to the average active listings of homes for sale. That's up 18% year over year. So the average listings, active listings of homes for sale is up 18% year over year. So even though inventory, that's interesting. Even though new listings of homes is only up 10%, the active listings of homes is still up 18%. So that is a high, almost a high, that rivals what happened in the fall of 2022. And then we have 3.3 months of supply available on the market. And this number is different from the numbers that NAHB was talking about when it said 9.3 months of supply for new home sales. But again, if a fourth of those are actually available, what's a fourth of 9 months? Like 2 months? So if a fourth of 9 months is available, then you're going to be closer to this 3 months of supply on new home inventory as well. So 42% of pending sales under contract go under contract within 2 weeks. So the 4-week average is right now sitting within 2 weeks. So that's still fast, but it's a low percentage of homes. In 2023, 2021, 2022, there was a higher percentage of homes going under contract within 2 weeks. Homes sold in a median of 32 days. Again, right now it's kind of at a high there, but that's a weird chart over. I'm not going to try to explain that chart. So if you guys want to see more of these charts, go to Redfin. The article is titled, U.S. home prices hit all-time high, pushing pending sales down 5%. And it is just data, which I love. I love the data that they include in their reports. Now, this is something we've been talking about too over the years. Newly built apartments are filling up at the slowest pace since 2020. So, and I've mentioned this on Clubhouse before, all the syndicates and everyone that was building all the multifamily homes several years ago. It looks like those have been finished. And now there's so much inventory for apartments and multifamily homes that it is filling up at the slowest pace since 2020. So that demand has been somewhat satisfied. New apartments are filling up at the slowest pace, and it says share of apartments rented within 3 months of completion is 47%. In 2017, it was 54%. Let's see. Let me find some other numbers for you. In 2021, it was 74%. And I feel like that was the height of it, man. That's when everyone was saying, hey, give us $50,000 and you could be in this apartment syndicate and we're going to build these multifamily homes for everyone to rent. And then it's just kind of steadily, I'm not saying it's gone up and down, but it's heading, the trend line is down hard. Let's see. There are a lot of new apartments hitting the market, which we just talked about. 90,260 multifamily completions in Q4 of 2023. So right now, if you're in the multifamily market, expect an increase in vacancy rates. And I would say also, if you're in the short-term rental market, expect an increase in some vacancy rates there as well, because I've been talking with a lot of property managers who manage the short-term rentals just around the country, and they're all kind of saying the same thing, that people are waiting longer to book. So instead of booking 3 months ahead of time, they're booking like a month ahead of time, and that they are waiting on prices to adjust on some of the listings before they book it. So they're waiting to see that there's a deal or a sale, and they're going after that. And this is in part the reason why there are so many deals and sales, because the increase of short-term rentals available due to the boom that everyone just had. So short-term rentals and multifamilies, if you're an investor in that market and playing in that market, just adjust your expected returns down a bit, and I think you'll be okay. But if you don't make that adjustment now and you're still investing like it was in 2023, 2024, I think you're going to be sorely disappointed. Let me look here. Let's see if I can bring that. There was an article by the CEO of Airbnb saying that it's how great it's going to be for consumers. I don't see it. But he was talking about the increased inventory and what good news it is for consumers. But I feel like as a CEO, you also need to make those property owners real happy. Let's see. Oh, I've got some comments over on the YouTube. Christy, what's up, Christy? She says, on my own investments, literally everything you were saying. Short-term, multifamily, long-term. She said that some South Florida areas, more so in the Florida West Coast, have saturated markets. Really? And the price discussion we had was right on in her market as well. That's it. I wonder how many of those markets have short-term rentals hitting the market they didn't anticipate. Oops, that's weird. I wonder how many of those short-term. See, I had it on. Interesting. Wait, cancel that. I had it on Do Not Disturb, but it still called me. That was weird. I wonder how many of the short-term, or wonder how many of the properties in places like Florida that are real popular with STRs. I wonder how much of that inventory is hitting the market, but they didn't intend to sell, but they're just not getting the rate of return in which they are. Or maybe they said, hey, I can work from anywhere, so I'm going to go to a second home market and work from the beach, log into Silicon Valley from there. And now Silicon Valley is saying, wait, we want you to come back. So this is a topic of conversation that we've had with a lot of our clients right now. The typical home is selling for less than list price, the first time that's happened since late spring, start of the pandy. A typical U.S. home sold during the 4 weeks ending June 23rd sold for 0.3% less than asking price. That marks the first time the typical home is sold under list price this time of year since the onset of the pandy in 2020. Additionally, just under 1/3, 32.3% of U.S. homes sold over asking price during that period. That's the lowest share of any late springtime since 2020. That's what it's been feeling like. I mean, that's really what it's been feeling like in our market. The median home sale price is up 4.9%. And we've already talked about some of this other stuff too. So it's just more of the same data, kind of repeated in a different story. But this article, if you have buyers right now and they're like, I don't really want to buy a house because I can't get a good deal, send them this article. Because I know it says 0.3%, but that's just averages. We've seen some buyers get incredible pricing on houses right now because the sellers have to move. And there's not a lot of buyers in the marketplace. So they're either getting concessions, they're getting their closing costs paid for, paint allowance, carpet allowance, all kinds of stuff. $50,000 off. There's all kinds of deals right now, which is where I got the thumbnail for today's show. I feel like there's all kinds of deals right now in the marketplace. All right, the last two things I want to talk about today. Let's talk about the debate briefly. If you are in the contributor chat, which I'll again put on my Instagram today, you can find it at Ray Zorback, RAYZORBACK. But if you're on the contributor chat, we created a safe place to have an open discussion about the debate and what happened. But one of the interesting things was how little they had to say about housing, which is one of the number one issues on voters' mind. And I don't know if it was because the questions weren't really directed towards Trump about housing or his solution for housing or anything like that, but he really didn't have much to say about it. And there was only like 3 mentions of it during the debate. And they kind of couched it within the whole economy as well. So he said, this is the question from Tapper. Since you took office, talking to Biden, since you took office, the price of essentials has increased. For example, a basket of groceries that cost $100 now costs more than $120. Typical home prices have jumped more than 30%. What do you say to voters who feel worse off under your presidency than they were under Trump? And his response was, no, I'm just kidding. Sorry, I'm kidding. His response was, I come from a household with a kitchen table. If things weren't able to meet during the month, it was a problem. If the price of eggs, gas, housing, I'm rephrasing a little bit, eggs, gas, housing, the price of whole grain things. That's why I'm working hard to make sure I deal with those problems. We're going to make sure we reduce the price of housing. We're going to make sure we build 2 million more units. We're going to make sure we cap rents so corporate greed can't take over. That's significant. Rent price fixing is significant. The second mention of housing came during the 1 hour mark, again by Biden. He said, President Biden a while back, while black unemployment dropped to the lowest record under your presidency, black families still earn less than white families. Biden said, number one, the fact of the matter is there's more black businesses. Number two, again, I'm rephrasing, wages of black employment is the lowest level than it's been in a long, long time. Number three, we find providing housing for black Americans and dealing with segregation that exists among the corporations that collude to keep people out of their houses. I'm not sure what he's talking about, the segregation that exists among these corporations to collude to keep people out of their houses. I haven't really seen that as a real estate professional, but those were the only mentions of housing in the entire debate, which fascinated me because early reports say it's one of the number one issues people are voting on is the ability for them to purchase a home. So you would think that they would talk about it more. The other thing that came out in politics and housing, maybe I should get another sounder for politics and housing, like, the Hail to the Chief sounder or something. So the White House Pro Housing Initiative awards $85 million in federal grants. So my question to you, is this enough to make a dent in the problem? At first, when I heard 85 million, I was like, oh yeah, that's a lot. And then when I realized that was for the entire country, I'm like, oh, that's not going to even make a dent. I think my brain, when it saw 85 million, heard or understood 85 billion. And I thought, yeah, that's significant if they could put it on the supply side. But when it's 85 million, so let's see, where did the 85 million go? So they said that they were going to put this mainly on the supply side. Biden-Harris administration released a statement, first of its kind funding to lower housing costs by reducing barriers to building more homes. The funding comes in the forms of grants under the Pathways to Removing Obstacles to Housing, or PRO housing, pro housing. The funding will support updates to state and local housing plans, permitting processes, and land use policies, as well as to increase efforts at building and preserving more affordable housing. The latest in the line of their housing announcements, construction of 2 million additional homes. How are they doing that? What are they? The government is not constructing them, are they? Increased rental assistance, financial assistance to first-generation homebuyers. So grants announced today focused on breaking down local barriers and standing in the way of building more homes and reducing the cost of home ownership, particularly for those most affected by the higher housing costs. So they said that the pro-housing applications revealed a common barrier to U.S. housing, including the high cost of land and development, underutilized vacant land and property, aging and deteriorating housing stock, inadequate or antiquated infrastructure, displacement pressures. Is displacement pressures? I can't even think of the word now. Gentrification. Is that what they're talking about? Risk of extreme weather and environmental hazards. Outdated land use and permitting policies and processes. So there's 21 grant winners. So these grant winners are the ones that have been awarded $84,925,899.92. Those winners include jurisdictions ranging from rural communities with under 5,000 residents to urban counties with millions of people. The 21 communities are, I don't want to read them all. I wish they were in order of who got the most money. So I'm going to pick through here. State of Hawaii got 6.6 million. Denver got 4.5. Los Angeles got 6.7. But Montgomery, Alabama got 3.5. So there's still some for the smaller towns too. Anaheim got 3.5. Iowa City, 3.7. Ketchum, 2.5. Metropolitan, I guess I am reading them all, aren't I? So Twin Cities got 4. Metropolitan Area Planning Council in MA got 3. Who else? Newark got 4. New York City got 4. Bend, Oregon got 5. Philadelphia got 3.3. State of Rhode Island got 3.8. Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County in Tennessee got 5 million. Fort Worth got 5 million. Seattle got 5 million, and Milwaukee got 2.1 million. So if you're in any of those 21 cities, and this article is on Broke Agent Media, you could go back. I definitely would put this on your social media and start talking about it, and maybe call the cities and say, how are you guys using this money? What's it going to go for? Because I believe in order to accept the grant, they had to apply. So it'll be interesting to see what the application stated, how they were going to use it and what they're going to use it for. It's supposed to help the supply side. So that would be what you're looking for. Is it actually helping the supply side? Is it actually going to do what they say and reduce the cost of housing on the supply side so that more people can buy inexpensive homes? Or is it going to reduce the cost of supply side, but are there going to be really any benefits to the buyer? That would be interesting. Hillary Kerchief says there were 175 applicants. Wow. It mentioned Tennessee in there. Is that your county that got some money? 175 applicants. You would think there'd be a lot more. I mean, the United States is big. All right, well, that's all I got for today, guys. So thank you all for joining me. I know it's a holiday week, but I appreciate you guys jumping in the comments. Yep, she said she got good. You should ask them, like, where's it going to go? But thanks, everyone, for joining us this week. You can find me on Instagram, RAYZORBACK. I'm going to put a link to the contributor chat there. Would love for you guys to join it. I usually post like a couple of articles, ask some questions, ask for any major news that's happening in your area that you may know about, and I can give you a shout out on the show. So thanks, everybody, for joining. I will see y'all next week.